What is up, everyone? JD here with another everyday carry video. I hope everyone's doing well out there today. Today I'm really excited to do a new knife unboxing with you guys. And as you can see, this here is from QSP. And I've been very interested in picking up this model, but I wasn't quite interested enough in the initial release variant of that particular knife that is here today to be unboxed. But they recently released a version that very much piqued my interest. And let's get into the knife so I can talk a little bit more about why that was. Oh, what we have here. So, as you can see here, this is the Penguin. It is the 154 cm version on ball bearings. So what really interested me in this particular variant is the fact that it is a budget titanium frame lock knife that is very, very affordable. I'm going to move some of this stuff out of the way here so we can have a look at the knife. So right away, the quality, there's a little bit of oil there from the bearing, I'm assuming. I don't think it would be on there to protect anything on the titanium frame. That's not going to really be affected by anything. It's very lightweight, a little bit smaller than I thought it was going to be in the picture, but not by much. So the first thing that I need to remember, and I felt my finger hit it, was that I don't want to rest my finger on the actual frame lock to inhibit deployment, because I learned that when I got my other budget friendly titanium frame lock that I picked up from Ontario, which is what interested me in this particular knife. The deployment and the action feels really good. It is definitely fall shut. I love the fact that it's the 154 cm and just not another D2 variant, but I was surprised that they switched from copper washers to the ball bearings. From what I had seen and had heard, the action was really good on the original version. I do like the milled titanium pocket clip. It's still relatively deep carry, which I do like about that. Very minimum barrel spacer studs here. And it does have and I just did it there. I had my finger on there, which the detent on it is really good. But when you're pushing the detent and the frame lock in, you're not going to be able to deploy that. So if you have big hands, just keep that in mind. I probably will end up just making sure that my fingers touching the actual pocket clip, which is kind of what I do with the Ontario. So I wanted to do a bit of a shootout, a budget shootout for titanium frame locks. Again, very affordable, very recommendable. It looks really good too. The tumble wash on the black coated finish, which I'm a big fan of. Any kind of tumbled finish, if it's done nicely and it looks really good, I'm a big fan of. The satins are okay. They're not my favorite, but there's nothing really wrong with them. When I say they're not my favorite, that's in comparison to having the dark coated finish tumble wash. But I do want to get, the frame is very easy to manipulate. It is knocked down, and it is really easy to slide and manipulate the frame. It does have a little frame lock stops to prevent from overextending right down in there. Hopefully you can see that, and it comes out really well. So that's really nice. And if you keep your thumb and your finger, if you keep your finger down low on the actual frame, deployment's really nice. It's really easy to do. You just got to remember not to come down too close to the blade when you want to deploy it. Thumb studs are really well done. It does taper, and it has a little bit of grip there for the thumb to catch onto, so that's really nice. The jimping on the back is really good too. Feels nice in hand. We'll have to see how that actually performs, but that's in a good spot. It's right there over top of the thumb stud. It's not going to impede any sort of cut by much when you're going across. If you're at an angle, it's not going to impede at all. If you're going straight through your cut, it's going to be very minimal that you're going to have to worry about that. The blade looks really, the edge looks really well done. It feels very sharp. We'll have to see again how that performs as we have the knife a little bit longer. So let me go ahead and get the other budget titanium frame lock knife that I wanted to do a shootout against a little bit later, and that is the Ontario TI-22 with Aus-8 Steel. So both of these are very, very obtainable, very affordable titanium frame lock pocket knives. They compare very favorably in size, as you can see here from the pivot. Blade length, very similar. The Ontario, slightly longer with the Tonto, and slightly longer on the actual length of the blade. But as far as the carry footprint, it is very thin by comparison. So as you can see, the two of them here side by side, the Ontario is a much smaller knife, and I think the color on its own, which you have different variants that you can get here, but this is more gentlemanly looking to me. The other thing that's going to be a contrast, and I'll be interested to see how they compare, is the flipper tab, which having your finger lock the knife down in position to manipulate it, it's really hard to kind of do that on camera. But this pocket clip, actually, I have found really helps secure the knife to use. You can light switch this one, or you can actually push deploy this one. It does both very, very well. So I'll be curious to see how these compare. I'm just trying to see if, like, my finger in the same position. I really think the finger being on top of the actual pocket clip is just going to avert having that on the frame lock. The index finger ends up riding like up here to kind of secure that in my hand. Again, I do have a larger hand, but let's do some comparisons to some more recognizable knives before we get too carried away with the comparison that I wanted to do that with. So I did want to do the ever popular Para 3 so that you guys can get a sense of the size of this knife. So it does have very similar blade length, and it's a little bit shorter in handle. Again, Para 3 is very good at keeping in-hand performance with a very small, compact size and blade. So that is one of the things that I do like about the Para 3 and why I do like to do these comparisons against it, because it can keep a full-handled grip while being very compact in size. Here we got the Paramilitary 2. As you can see, it is much larger, both in blade length and trying to line up those pivots and in the actual grips. So two other quick comparisons that I think this particular knife compares very well with, and that is going to be the Civivi Elementum, which is very close in comparison, especially the entry-level variant of the Penguin, because it does come in that D2 steel. But as you can see here, the Elementum is a little bit smaller in blade length and a little bit shorter in grip. And then I don't have my Griptilian because it is out for a warranty claim. The Omega Springs broke on it, but I did think it would be appropriate to bring the big Elementum, aka the button lock, out here so that you can get a sense of the difference between the original Elementum, the QSP, and the button lock. As you can see, it kind of falls right in the middle, has a little bit more blade length, very close handle length, which was very interesting. I wasn't sure how that would compare. Let's do a quick profile comparison and wrap it up. I'm not sure what I'm going to carry it with, so we'll talk about that in the shootout, what I ended up deciding to carry it with. As you can see here, it compares very favorably to, again, the Elementum. I think this is really where this knife was originally targeting, but I do want to do that budget titanium frame lock shootout. As you can see here, no difference with the button lock, very similar. Bringing out the Para 3, which, you know, still has a bigger footprint overall. Let's see how it compares. So just a hair, just slightly thinner. I know that's going to be hard to register on the camera. The Para 3 just a touch bigger. And then I have the Flytanium scales on here, so it's just going to make the Para 3 look that much bigger because it is a contoured scale. Anyway, initial impressions, I really like this. I'm very excited to use it. I'm very excited to do that shootout that I mentioned earlier. Let me know what you guys think. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.